All right, get ready for a bombshell, truth seekers, because we're about to blow the lid off one of the biggest political scandals of our time. We've got our hands on a secret Zoom recording that exposes how the Biden-Harris team manipulated voters about Joe's mental decline. From digital directors admitting to censorship programs to rapid response teams classifying inconvenient truths as disinformation, this story goes deep. So how far did they go to fool the American people? And what does this mean for the 2024 election? So buckle up, because this revelation will shake your faith in the entire political system. Now, in a world where truth is under attack, protecting your assets is more crucial than ever. And just as we're exposing the manipulation in politics, you need to shield your finances from economic turmoil. Gold prices have surpassed $2,400 an ounce, signaling a weakening U.S. dollar. So don't let your hard-earned money become a casualty of political chaos. Global Gold Investments offers a 5-year IRA fee waiver program and expert guidance to secure your financial future. Call that number on the screen, 888-700-4148, or visit the link in the description, IRAGoldproof.com. Mention Next News for VIP treatment. While politicians play chess with our country, make your move to protect your wealth with gold. Okay, let's buckle up, folks. Let's get into this, because this is a pretty alarming story. Now, this comes to us from Matt Orfalia. In a newly discovered Zoom recording, the Biden-Harris team reveals how they manipulated voters to think Biden's mental decline was disinformation. And of course, you know what happened at that debate. They can no longer hide it. So here's the initial message. This was November. This goes back to 2020. This is how long they've been playing this game. Hope not hate. We're getting started with tonight's webinar. Hearing from Rob Flaherty and Bex Rink and Timothy Durrigan about how the Biden campaign tracked and countered disinformation during the presidential campaign. Now, the Biden-Harris, this is I think, 11-part tweet, 11-part thread. Biden-Harris digital director Rob Flaherty says the DNC created a program to detect, track, and censor what it deemed as misinformation, like Biden's mental decline. He calls it critical and one of the more important decisions made by the party in recent years. These are his own words. Let's listen.
And so, one of the smartest things that I think the party did itself was, over the last couple of years, they actually invested in a team that Tim runs, and you'll hear from Tim, to detect and track misinformation and misinformation narratives in the sort of various corners of the internet, and then actually go out and flag it to platforms as a violation of their policy. And so that
Did you hear that? They don't like your opinion. They don't like the facts you present. So they go to the platform and flag the content as a policy violation, a misinformation violation. What happens next? Accounts get deleted, terminated, suspended. All because they don't like what you're saying.
I mean, the stuff that they did was a critical asset. That piece of infrastructure, I think, was one of the more important decisions that was made in sort of the party space over the last couple of years.
Yeah, thanks for that. So it goes on. He presents emails that show Flaherty carrying out the supposedly counter misinformation program in the White House, pushing Facebook, you ready for this, to censor Tucker Carlson for discussing certain jabs, and Tomi Lahren for her strong "my body, my choice" stance. Here's the email of them going after Tucker and Tomi because they don't like their position. My body, my choice? Isn't that like one of the mantras of the left? Oh, not during COVID, though. Despite leading the Biden White House efforts to censor misinformation, when asked under oath to define misinformation, he refused. Really? You're out there fighting misinformation. You're telling all your underlings to fight misinformation, but yet you won't define it in a hearing? Let's listen.
So, Mr. Flaherty, when the Biden administration told Americans that the vaccinated couldn't get the virus, were they guessing or lying?
Congressman, I think first of all, it's important to remember my role in this discussion, which is as a communicator on behalf of
You work for the Biden administration, you're assistant to the president. It's a simple question. When they told the American people that if you get the vaccine,
Congressman, again, I'm not here as a medical expert.
no, that's as common. Everyone knows that. Of course they can. I'm a simple question.
That sounds right to me.
You agree, Mr. Seligman? That's the common definition in the misinformation industry out there?
Yes.
Experts tell us. Misinformation, saying something that's not. I'm not asking that. I'm a simple question. What's misinformation?
Well, Congressman, I think it's important in the context of these.
How about you, Professor? Can you tell me what misinformation is?
I assume it would be saying something was completely untrue.
Saying something that's untrue, but with no intent. No intent. Disinformation, this is what all the misinformation experts tell us. Misinformation, saying something that's not accurate. Disinformation, saying something that's not accurate with the intent to mislead. Right?
That sounds right to me.
You agree, Mr. Seligman? That's the common definition in the misinformation industry out there?
Yes, my understanding.
Okay, that's the definition. So now, Mr. Fleury, how about this question? When the Biden administration told the American people that the vaccinated couldn't get the virus, was it misinformation or disinformation?
Congressman, again, we were communicating the best medical research that we had at the time on behalf of a group of some of the best doctors in the world in Atlanta and Bethesda.
When the Biden administration told the American people that the virus didn't come from...
Oh, man. Okay, so there you have it. Defaulting to talking points. Well, we had the best information at the time. And of course, we were all proven true. We were shouting from the rooftops from the moment that pandemic started, getting our content removed for speaking the truth. Oh, but they were just acting on the best information that they had. And now we're all proven true. But at the time, it was all misinformation or disinformation that they felt they had to suppress. But in the Zoom call, he said misinformation narratives include conversations online about corruption or mental fitness or Biden's record on the crime bill, effectively defining misinformation as anything the Biden team found inconvenient. Oh, here we go.
We brought Becca on to sort of think through, okay, now that we have these misinformation narratives, what do we actually do? What do we do? It is one thing to know that there is a lot of conversation online about corruption or mental fitness or any of these things, or the vice president's record on the crime bill, which was sort of a controversial piece of legislation in the early 90s. But it was another to go, okay, now what? We brought Becca on to...
Thanks for that. Becca, he says, we brought Becca on. Well, Becca is Biden's rapid response director, later the White House deputy director of digital strategy, also classified talk of Biden's mental decline as disinformation around his mental acuity.
We saw a huge amount of volume and a lot of impact on narratives like Joe Biden was being manipulated by the radical left and disinformation around his mental acuity.
So then we're going to go ahead and we're going to classify that as misinformation. Of course, we know the pressure from the radical left is being exerted on the Biden administration. Oh, but it's misinformation. The Biden-Harris team micro-targeted voters. You ready for this? Exposed to the disinformation, aka reality, of Biden's mental decline. They use psychographic targeting, a tactic that Cambridge Analytica was highly scrutinized for after the 2016 election. Let's hear what they had to say.
Essentially, the pitch was that we were going to combine micro-targeting, which had existed in politics, which was, in part my background, but bring on boards new constructs from psychology, so that we wouldn't just be targeting you as a voter, we'd be targeting you as a personality.
We targeted folks based...
Targeting you as a personality. Your little Facebook posts, so troublesome, so full of truth. Your darn tweets and your opinions and your facts. Micro-targeting. Goodness. Okay, let's see what she's got to say.
On online behavioral cues, building out personas.
Targeting you as a personality.
personas based on the type of content they were consuming, what they were searching, the kinds of websites they were visiting.
We could build a psychological profile
Holy cow.
of each voter in a particular region.
We built out different personas for the different parts of our key audiences, both persuadable and our supporters, and then targeted them with custom campaigns.
So you've harvested my data, and then you've used that to target me in ways that I can't see and that I don't understand.
Yeah, so we would know what kinds of messaging you would be susceptible to, including the framing of it, the topics, the contents, the tone, whether it's scary or not, that kind of thing. So what you would be susceptible to and where you're going to consume that. And then how many times do we need to touch you with that in order to change how you think about something?
Wow. That is a straight up political psyop. I've said it here 100 times. The feed, the narrative that you are fed in your timelines on your Facebook page, your Instagram, any of your social properties are all being manipulated. Manipulated to give you the reality that they construct and the reality that they want you to see. The online dossier of every single one of us is being used to manipulate our political positions. And that's why we need to be fully aware of what is going on so we can combat it, so we can put up our personal defenses, so we can practice discernment. This is a very serious info war. Okay, so Rinkovich, we targeted folks based on online behavioral cues, building out the personas. Now, I think this might be a rehash of what we just saw.
We targeted folks based on online behavioral cues, building out personas based on the type of content they were consuming, what they were searching, the kinds of websites they were visiting, so that we could target folks in real time as they were exposed to that disinformation.
As they were exposed to the disinformation. Okay, so you respond to a tweet or a Facebook post, you put a little like emoji or you comment on somebody posting about Biden's cognitive decline. Somehow they have real-time metrics to that information. And then all of a sudden they can come around and retarget you to push back on the fact that you liked the post like that. Think about the finite manipulation that is happening in the social media realms. Because your eyes see reality, but they want you to think that your eyes are lying to you. When Biden falls up a flight of stairs on Air Force One or falls off a bike in Virginia, what do? Oh, no, he's perfectly fine. When he gets lost trying to exit a stage or can't handle an unscripted press conference and fumbles through his words, oh, no. Nothing to see here, folks. Yeah. Manipulating your reality in real time. Wow. Flaherty and Rinkovich saw the opportunity to grab a voter at a moment of curiosity and essentially keep badgering her as she traveled across the internet. That is according to the journalist Sasha Eisenberg in his book, Lie Detectives. Holy cow. At a moment of curiosity, the moment that they can detect your curiosity, they target you. Like I just said, when you interact with that post, boom, instant data point that they can spin around and badger you at every single other data point you interact with on the web. Okay, looks like we got looks like an interview now. Couple minutes with this Sasha Eisenberg. If you typed the words Biden and the word senile in a search bar, you'd be shown short videos of Biden speaking clearly. Upon hearing this, MSNBC's Chris Hayes exclaimed, "Wow, Chris Hayes." I mean, he's one of those radical left MSNBC hosts that nobody likes. But apparently, he's getting a little bit of a red pill moment. Let's take a listen.
Team advice, what they called the Sleepy Joe storyline, using Trump's phrase about Biden's age and acute mental fitness. That was a problem. It had reach and it had potential impact. The persuadable voters said it would affect their vote choice. And so this manifests itself in a receptivity to storylines that suggested that he was old and physically weak, but it wasn't the real concern, as one of his pollsters described to me, was that he wouldn't be the author of his presidency. Right. And so the original communications team advice on dealing with the age thing was, let's set up photo ops where he's going to ride his bicycle. Let's have him jog up the steps to his plane. And this research project pushed back and said, like, no, people are not worried that he won't get his steps in the White House. They are worried that he
is not his own man, that he's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so the response to it, if you were targeted, they started buying search terms like Biden and senile. And so if you went on Google and you search those terms, they would try to drop a cookie on your web browser so that eventually when you're somewhere off on the web, on YouTube, you might get shown a 15-second video of Biden speaking to camera unedited about his economic policies. Like the most banal thing that you can imagine, something that has no apparent connection to his age.
Right.
But the testing revealed that was the thing that assuaged these concerns, was like, no, he knows what he believes and he can say it clearly. And so, I think that the most effective tactics to dealing with this disinformation things are the ones that really step back and sort of think about this as a kind of traditional political communications problem, even if it's triggered by this sort of peculiar digital dynamics that sort of set it in motion.
Yeah, that's a fascinating story.
It is a fascinating story, isn't it? And how ironic is it? Now, I didn't see this clip. You and I watched it for the first time just now. and they used the two examples that I just presented to you. Unreal. Shoo! Keep going, baby. Okay, Biden's team also deployed an army. This like we're seeing now with Kamala. Biden's team also deployed an army of online influencers to fight disinformation when asked for an example of disinformation countered with this digital organizing. Flaherty's example of such disinformation was the question about Biden's mental fitness.
Everyone sit up. That goes.
I just wanted to ask if you could, I would love to hear if you could expand a little bit more on how you use digital organizing to counter disinformation. If you can expand a little bit more, like that would be really cool to hear.
Yeah. I know there's a second panel we're doing on digital organizing. We had one of the largest digital organizing operations that's sort of everyone sit up, and that goes from a YouTube creator all the way down to a pastor who has a Facebook following that is big in Florida. So, for example, if there was this sort of question about the president-elect's mental fitness, which was a sort of hit against him that the polling found to be effective. It was also very easy to ameliorate by showing content of the vice president speaking, right? Because that gives people proof without like showing them up, right? And so we encourage those people to share content that did that thing, and that helped disprove from a research perspective the thing without being in their face about it, saying fact check, or if you believe this, you're wrong. And so that was just like one sort of example.
I just wanted to ask if you could.
Okay, so without putting it in their face, so they're doing it surreptitiously, secretly. They're making you see this information without really disclosing the origins of it. Wow. This is a sophisticated manipulation psyop. This goes on. Joining Flaherty and Rinkovich on Zoom was the DNC Counter Disinformation Program creator and lead analyst, Tim Durrigan. His reports, according to Flaherty, went to the highest levels of the Biden campaign.
Highest level. We at the campaign cared a lot about this work, and reports that Tim did went to the literal highest levels of the campaign.
The highest levels.
Um,
The Twitter files. Oh, remember the Twitter files? Show that Durrigan tried to censor many posts, including a video mashup of Biden coughing posted by Jack Posobiec. He failed in the one instance, but it seems other such efforts were successful. According to lie detectives, he also cultivated ties with Google and Facebook. Okay, so Jack Posobiec, very influential on X, puts out a video and they come out and force to suppress it. I think we have there's four attachments on this piece. So Matt Taibbi, if you know, he was one of the first people to present all this information from inside of Twitter after Elon Musk purchased it. The flow chart here. Now this is Twitter responding to complaints. The video is an unaltered excerpt of Vice President's speech. Our team considered it to be out of context but not deceptive, Twitter told the staffer, who fumed. These rules need revision.
You know, excuse me. I stole for the, thank you for it was unexpected outlets. Not when I first I bet that mother done. You know.
Okay, so that goes on for 26 seconds. They didn't like that he decided to edit every moment the man coughed. You've probably seen dozens of mashups where people are, you know, every time they say one word, they edit the same word over and over again, you know, like being unburdened by what has been. You know, that's Kamala's catchphrase. People edit this time every time she says it. And here it's no different. You just have an edit of him coughing, but no, that's not. They determined that these rules need to be revised.
The reason Joe Biden appears lost in the video is because Joe Biden is literally, by definition, lost. Biden began his speech by greeting the wrong community center.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway.
He's speaking at William Hicks Anderson Center, not Kingswood.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Nobody thought it was a joke.
Welcome to Kingswood Community Center.
It was just really awkward.
Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway.
Factcheck.org then argues the video was false for not including the rest of this sentence.
It's great to be here and back in a place where.
But Joe Biden never finished the sentence himself.
It's great to be here and back in a place where I want to thank Wayne Jefferson for having us here at the Hicks Anderson Center. I'm from Delaware.
After accusing the video of editing out the end of a sentence that was never completed in the first place, FactCheck reprimands the video for cutting together clips of Biden's awkward pauses.
I mean, that's a 5-minute video. I'll go ahead and retweet this. You can hit me up you can hit up my X profile. You can see it for yourself. But just a perfect example of how the fact checkers are attempting to control your reality. And a lot of times these fact checkers are working hand in hand with the administration or the campaign so they can control the narrative that you see in your news feeds. The Zoom host asks about the big problem of true misinformation, and Durrigan says it's a huge problem and wants social media to suppress true misinformation to promote authoritative news sources like the New York Times. Big Tech's done that since 2018, but apparently not enough for Tim. Well, if you've been following this channel for any period of time, then you know that in 2017 of November is when YouTube officially changed their algorithm. And when they did that, they started to lift up authoritative voices. And when they decided to lift up authoritative voices, they suppressed all the independent media and content creators, like this very channel. Whistleblowers from inside Google came forward. Zach Voorhees came forward with documentation that proved that our channel was on a list of those sources of information put at the very bottom, weighted with a negative search result, so you couldn't even find our content. So if you're here watching this, you are one of the lucky ones that made it through the algorithm.
One of the big problems I think we're facing with the misinformation in the UK is not just the role that fabricated or misinformation is playing, but selective truth or selective propaganda, if you will. A lot of the groups that we would monitor, for example, the vast majority of the content in their groups, say it's an anti-Muslim movement, is true. It's not that the story is fabricated. It's just that the only thing that they post in that group is 1,000 articles a week about halal food all over the world. And they create this perception that halal and Islam is taking over the world. And it's not that the stories are not true. It's just that they are very selective in their choosing. And I wonder if that's something that you had to come up with that goes slightly beyond just saying this is fabricated, this is fact-checked, it's not true, and how you deal with it when something is true, but they present it in a manner or with a mass of it that it becomes untrue. And how do you deal with kind of true misinformation? That's not a paradox.
In terms of the propaganda aspect, I think it's a huge problem. One of the things that Facebook has touted is their fact-checking program, which is problematic and insufficient in a lot of ways. But the problem that you mentioned, Joe, is super important, because even if the fact-checking was happening perfectly, there would still be the ability to deceive with framing and with coverage choices. So similar to the halal example you gave, in the US, there's a company called Mad World News, and basically they will take 4 and 5-year-old really heinous crimes, usually perpetrated against women or children by people of color, and they will circulate those and publish them over and over as if this was happening on a daily basis. And they can kind of spread foment racism, encourage hate with truth, even if it's presented in a misleading way. I mean, from my perspective, I think this comes down to distribution and quality of content. And one of the things that especially social media has been really hesitant to do is to say certain sources of news are more authoritative than others. They're higher quality than others. And so, to give a US example, the New York Times, which people will call sometimes the paper of record, really authoritative source of information, and that site Mad World News are treated the same. They look the same on Facebook. And so, if a Mad World News clip is getting a lot of likes, Facebook is going to say, hey, this is good content, and they're going to push it out just the same as if the New York Times did that. And usually the New York Times is not going to get as many likes because the content they're putting out is factual, it's nuanced, it's boring, but accurate. And so there's kind of a natural preference for this type of clickbait, inciting content. And so I think that's certainly a frontier where we need.
Yeah, certainly. Right. Oh, authoritative news. I can't stand that term. A month later, the really authoritative New York Times celebrated the Biden-Harris team and called concerns about Biden's mental health baseless rumors and misinformation from right-wing influencers. Oh, but they're the paper of record, right? Fight misinformation, but pick your battles. There were baseless rumors about Mr. Biden's health. When it did respond to misinformation, the Biden team tried to address the root of the narrative. After right-wing influencers posted compilation videos of Mr. Biden stumbling over his words and appearing forgetful. Yeah, those things certainly didn't happen. That's just misinformation we've been fed for years. But the Biden team didn't just get the media to forward their deception, they changed real votes. According to Rinkovich, concern around Biden's mental acuity in particular went down by 8 points over the course of our campaign, resulting in about 200,000 votes for Biden. Did you hear what I just said? This campaign to suppress the truth about Biden by countering narratives being presented by individuals like Jack Posobiec and others, and even probably mine, here, reporting on Biden's mental acuity, falling up the stairs and falling off bikes and all of his gaffes. And like you just saw the clip, he didn't even know where he was. So they, in real time, pushing back against these narratives in a straight up, like point for point war of information, resulting in 200,000 votes.
And a couple notes on sort of our eventual top line impact. We found over the course of our campaign in tracking with our traditional research and in-flight ads measurement that the risk and the hit concern around mental acuity in particular went down by 8 points over the course of our campaign. And in looking at the number of folks who moved in vote choice, we saw about 200K folks shore up their votes for the president-elect based on the ads that we served in our campaign. So a very quick and dirty, high-level look at...
Quick and dirty. Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. To put things into perspective, Orphalia points to this poll. Biden won by fewer than 200,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin combined. So their effective campaign to push back against the truth of Biden's cognitive decline, their counter campaign, where she just admitted to about 200,000 votes, materialized in these states. Biden won by fewer than 200,000 votes. Now, of course, how many of those were just handwritten mail-ins overnight at 3 a.m.? Today, Rinkovich runs the Institute of Rebooting Social Media, at Harvard. Durgan leads the DNC Disinfo Analysis, and Flaherty is the deputy campaign manager overseeing digital ads and social for Kamala Harris, despite her past criticism of the intrusive data collection that he exploits.
And whether, let's be clear, this arrangement is not always working in the best interest of the American people. First, users have little to no idea just how Facebook collects their data, including tracking the user's location, the device they are using, their IP address, and activities on other websites. To be clear, this occurs whether or not they are logged into Facebook and whether or not they even use Facebook. Let me put this in perspective.
Please do.
In the real world, this would be like someone following you every single day as you walk down the street, watching what you do, where you go, for how long, and with whom you're with. For most people, it would feel like an invasion of privacy, and they'd call the cops. Let's be clear.
Yeah, let's be clear. Yeah, back in the day, she might have opposed it, but now she's actively using it. Like Biden's mental decline, the war on disinformation continues. What true misinformation will they go after next? Please follow me here on X and at orf.report. So my hat is off to Matt Orphalia for putting together this comprehensive thread. 19 threads. Oh my, and I don't even follow him. I don't even know how I got there, but I'm following him now. Definitely. And I'm going to tap that notification bell so I make sure I get all the posts from Matt Orphalia. Amazing thread. An absolutely amazing thread. Going to go ahead and retweet that for sure. So if you want to go and follow that thread, go follow me on X. You'll find that thread. Even Mike Benz commenting on the thread, calling it an essential thread for everybody. So there you have it, folks. The smoke and mirrors game played by the Biden-Harris team has been exposed for all to see. This is not just about one election or a candidate. It's about the integrity of the entire process. So as we move forward, remember, vigilance is key. Question everything. Seek out the truth, and don't let manipulated narratives shape your views. Keep watching the Raw feed here at the Next News Network, because we will be here peeling back the layers of deception and bringing you the unvarnished truth. The fight for transparency in our political system is just beginning, and we're counting on informed citizens like you to keep the flame of liberty burning bright.